The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
All right, so it is election day. And, it's kind of hard to make that topic interesting because we pretty much know what's gonna happen. Doesn't seem like there are going to be many surprises in the state of Alabama when it comes to the election results. I know Dale Jackson talked about it during his hour. His big thing was the media wants you to believe it's confusing when it's really not confusing. If there is a low turnout for this election, it's not because it's confusing. It's just because there was going to be a low turnout. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that most people pay attention to the governor's race. Well, that's already a done deal. So they don't pay as much attention to the other races. But I did see this, and I know Dale talked about this yesterday as well, but I want to go through it. I did see Shomari Figures is out there, the Democrat. He is trying to keep his seat. He's probably going to lose it because of redistricting. He is the Democrat that the only reason he has a seat is because judges in that 3-judge panel, they wanted another Democrat seat. And so they figured out a way to make another Democrat seat. So now he is there, and then they were overruled, so he's gonna go bye-bye. But he said some things I have to talk about, and it gives you kind of an idea of where some Democrats are, even in Alabama. So we'll get to that and more. You are listening to the Yaffee Program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Also coming up the show, we'll have the Alabama bullet points, a lot of election stuff there. The bottom of the hour, we're going to speak with Congressman Gary Palmer, who does have a primary election. I mean, I don't think he has a chance of losing or anything like that. So we'll talk, but we'll give him a chance to talk about that and some other stuff going on. He made some news this week because he said he believes a lot of Democrats are going to switch parties because the party, at least the base of the Democratic Party, has gone so far to the left that the more moderates are going to become independents or maybe even Republicans. Not sure how true that is, but I'll get his take on that. We also have to give an update on the latest in Iran. Trump says he is still low-keying it. And he's actually getting some support. This new strategy, it's just basically instead of a normal kinetic military type war against Iran, we have now made it an economic war. That seems to be the new play. We're going to defeat them with the economy. It kind of reminds me, this is a weird comparison. In the movie Batman Begins, you have Ra's al Ghul in the League of Shadows, and they tried to defeat Gotham economically. They said at one point. I know, what a random reference that's. Anyway, we'll talk more about Iran later on as well because Brent Sadler, he is an expert with the Heritage Foundation. He's going to join us. Oh, and Trump made an announcement yesterday when it came to vaccine schedules. And this comes right after there was news of Dr. Fauci once again, if not straight up lying to the public about a side effect of the vaccine, keeping it from the public, hiding it from the public. I just don't understand why that was necessary. I really don't get it. What was so hard about just being honest? It's kind of crazy when you think about it. So we'll do that. I always end the show with the Yaffee Program Rewind. We always take your text messages on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. And Bugsy is producing today. She'll do What's Trending later on. Bugsy, how are you today?
Doing awful, Yaffee. My life is in ruins after my jacket was ruined yesterday. I don't know what to do.
It's really more of a sweater, right?
It's a hoodie.
Or like a hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't find a replacement.
But I got into a bidding war for it in 2018. I thought it was 2019, but I found where I bought it earlier today trying to see if I could get a picture of it from then or something. Maybe it had the tags because I didn't take a picture of the tags or something. But no, I've had it since 2018. It was in great shape. It was ran over by a car last weekend. And
how does a jacket get... Never mind. I don't even want to know. Just go on. What happened this time?
And then I tried to be nice, Yaffee. I tried to save everyone in this building by spraying some mold before it got bad. And I got bleach on it. And it's ruined.
No good deed goes unpunished, as they say. You could just get another jacket.
I can't. I could get a different one, but I have been so attached to the... Tell me, Yaffee, have you ever seen me without this jacket?
No.
Exactly.
Actually, no. I say that, but, during the winter, I'm always wearing that Magic jacket. I mean, Dale makes fun of me for that. I've had that thing for like 15 years.
I hope that thing gets bleach on it so you feel my pain.
So it wouldn't surprise me. I don't think the zipper works right anymore, but I'm the same way. So you get attached to those things. I mean, Dale Jackson gave us like Dale Jackson hoodies a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they're not very comfortable.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hoodies.
I wasn't either until I got that one. So.
All right.
It's so comfy.
Well, if someone I feel bad. You weren't in the jacket when it was run over by a car. Were you? I mean, geez.
I like it took you a while to ask that question, didn't it?
I just can't understand that part of the story. All right, let me go through this. So AL.com has this story about Democrat Shomari Figures. He's a Democrat fighting to keep his seat in Congress. Apparently went to a town hall, and AL.com says Shomari figures on five key issues: Social Security, school choice, and data centers. And what's amazing is how wrong he is on like all of these topics. There are some out there who say, well, Republicans and Democrats are practically the same these days. They're really not. I'm not saying Republicans are great, but it doesn't mean they're Democrats. But here it is. Representative Shomari Figures said he opposed that development project. So he visited a packed Alabama church worship service as residents fight against a data center. Was he asked about flock cameras? I don't think he was asked. You got to ask him about. We've moved on from data centers, everyone. We're on to flock cameras now. By the way, I'm trying to get Ernie Yarborough on the show this week because he had an op-ed at 1819 News against flock cameras. So I want to see if he can convince me to be super against them, like everyone else is. But anyway, Figures said he opposed that development project, but he also used the event, co-hosted with Representative Terry Sewell, to pitch his record so far in Congress and make the case for his reelection. All right, so number one issue that came up at this town hall, school choice. At the town hall, a resident asked how many lawmakers will help address local teacher shortages. There were an estimated 3,413 unfilled positions across the state. Holy crap, that's a lot. Dear God. Anyway, schools are mostly funded at the state and local level, but Figures said he wants to make sure the federal government continues to fund early childhood and K-12 education. He also said he supported giving families more choices and opportunities, but criticized Alabama's Choose Act because, you can't be for that if you're a Democrat, I guess, even though that's literally what it does is gives parents and kids more choices. Anyway, he says what's going to be left in public schools is the population of students more at risk. I got to stop right there. Why? Why would that be what's left? This is a serious question. Because kids that are more at risk, they can still take advantage of the school choice program too. The whole point is that kids in certain areas and parents there could get their kids to a better school. But let's even say the premise is true. So, wouldn't that, if there are less kids there, wouldn't that give the school more of an opportunity to help the kids more at risk? Shouldn't the public schools be good at helping kids that are at risk? Doesn't that kind of tell you why maybe some people don't want to go to public schools? Because they're not very good at it? I've told you, if you're worried about people leaving your public school, my answer to you is do better. That's all you have to do, better. And they're going to say they need more money, even though the private schools seem to do better with less money per student. But we'll get into that in a moment. But he said, and teachers are not going to want to teach in these environments, which means that our public schools are going to fall further and further behind. And then, of course, he says the typical Democrat line, sending $175 million to the Choose Act. He said the state should commit the money to traditional public schools. All right, so we just need to throw more money at it, and that'll fix public schools. This is his thing. That's what Doug Jones always said. If you want to know why teachers are not filling these positions, it's not the pay. And the reason I say that is being a teacher is never paid well. In my entire life, being a teacher was never a lucrative career in terms of money. It's never had it's not a new thing that teachers are not paid well enough. That's not a new thing. So you have to ask yourself, okay, what is new? Why is it that teachers would put up with the low pay before and they don't put up with it now? I'll tell you why. Because the kids are out of control. There are discipline problems. There's too much administrative bureaucracy in the public school system, and teachers are no longer allowed, one, to discipline kids, to hold them accountable, and two, to actually teach in a way that kids will like because they're forced to teach to the test or they're beholden to the bureaucracy, whatever it is. That's the problem. It's not the money. Number two, he said data centers. Sewell has sponsored a national data center moratorium bill in Congress. Figures has been more cautious, but asked residents if they want a proposed data center in Hayneville. When they said no, he said, well, I'm with the people of Lowndes County. So he just asks them, and they're like, we don't want it. And he's like, okay. I have to admit, Tuberville's actually being a pretty good leader on this topic, explaining to people why data centers are not the end of the world and we probably need them. That we have to go on a case-by-case basis, but a lot of what we're dealing with data centers, it's a moral panic, not really based in reality, I think. And then we have SNAP. Figures serves on the Agriculture Committee in Congress. He noted that about 81,000 Alabama residents have lost SNAP benefits due to the big, beautiful bill. He will continue to ask questions about the impact. He says the cost of that big, ugly bill was huge. And this goes back to the other typical Democrat line, that they believe they take it as a badge of honor to have more and more people dependent on the government. The goal for a program like SNAP should be a hand up so we can help people do better in the economy so they don't need SNAP benefits anymore. But to them, they see it as a constant where people are on SNAP and their goal is to get more and more people on SNAP. That should not be the goal, but that's how they see it. So when people actually cut from the program, maybe they actually don't need it. They see it, oh, that's a travesty. So the usual stuff, more dependent on government. Now, Social Security. He said Democrats will work to protect entitlement funds, and I tell you how they're going to do that. They're going to raise taxes and cut military spending. That is their plan. They don't like any other reforms to Social Security. It needs to be totally reformed. There have been ideas in the past that would have worked, but they don't want to do that because their idea is just to raise taxes and, cut military spending. And then, of course, he talked about rural health care, and the typical thing will be more government health care, maybe Medicare for all. So it's the typical stuff. The government, he's there. He's a Democrat, and he's going to help the government take care of you. And if you maybe want out of a government system for schooling, well, tough luck. We think the government will do better. So that's the difference. It doesn't look like he's going to win, but I thought it was kind of interesting to get he's trying to portray himself as a moderate, and maybe he's moderate compared to some of the radical socialists that are now in the party, but he's still a Democrat. He's still not really a moderate, and he still doesn't really reflect the values of Alabama. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. While the Alabama bullet points coming up next, Gary Palmer will join us at the bottom of the hour. This is the Yaffee Program.
It's the Yaffee Program on WVNN.
Mic Drop, hosted by former Navy SEAL Mike Ridlin.
What is your take? Was it what you expected?
Oh, it was the best thing ever.
It was something I always wanted to do.
If you show me a clear goal, I'm like, okay, I can do that. Master Chief, he's like, you realize there's about 1% chance of you making it through. 1%? That's all I need, Master Chief.
My platoon went home early, and I just went up to my chief, and I was like, I'm not going home.
Turns out I'm staying.
That's when we go to war.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I could get used to this.
Mic Drop. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg, and after interviewing so many dudes during this Men's World Cup, I'm so happy to be back with my U.S. Women's National Team players.
I know the U.S. Men's National Team has changed how I think about myself, how I think about being an American, how I think about being on a team.
It's 1 year out from that World Cup, and we're going to talk about the brightest prospects in U.S. soccer. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it. The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henco. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.